Hi, everyone. This is the Leadership with Heart podcast, and this is Heather Younger, your host. Employee experience is powered by emotions. Managers and or leaders within organizations get to choose which emotions they unleash from within the people they lead. Leaders, meaning supervisors or above in an organization, drive much of the positive or negative emotions by their actions or inactions, their words, or what they fail to say. When a manager chooses their words and their actions carefully, they exhibit great emotional intelligence. These managers are often thought of as leaders who care, or as I like to call them, leaders with heart. This special brand of leader drives engagement and loyalty simply by being themselves. Are these leaders perfect? Absolutely not. It is in their awareness and sharing of some of their imperfections that we realize their brilliance. In this podcast, I ask you to see yourself in the stories my guests tell about times when they were not the best versions of themselves, but how they used their hearts to guide them to a place of deeper connection with their teams and heightened leadership prowess. Enjoy. Hello, everyone. This is Heather with the Leadership with Heart podcast, and today is the 100th episode. Yay! Super excited for this day. It's been a journey. I know when I remember thinking back of when I wanted to do this podcast, I was at No Longer Virtual, and it's a conference that happens every year around March. And Neil Hughes, who is the tech blog writer and just an amazing guy, he has his own podcast, and he mentioned that he would help and that all I had to do was just speak to people and just have a conversation with people about leading with heart, and that he had a program that would help me do all the rest. So I have to say I'm super humbled to have spoken to the people I have. I'm super excited about this next year and what it's yet to bring. I'm very, very grateful that all of you have chosen to listen in on me in my unpolished, funny way of interviewing people. And I just feel really, really grateful. So this episode is more about a tribute to you and listening, because if there's no one listening, there is no show. But I want you to hear some of the voices of people that are in the audience that are listening with you and enjoy what they have to say. I'll be back shortly.
Hello, my name is Tyler Adams. I am the PR and communications specialist at Tiny Pulse, and I am a day one listener and fan of the Leadership with Heart podcast. I get so much out of every episode because I think Heather really cuts to the quick with leaders from all walks of life and in different roles and with different strategies and stories and organizations, but because she only brings on people who truly lead with heart, I think you arrive at some really deep revelations quicker than other podcasts. I find myself listening to episodes over and over again. So congratulations on episode 100. And I'll probably end up listening to 100 episodes twice over because there's so much there. And Heather does a great job of extracting what really matters in employee experience and among leaders who want to lead from and with their hearts. Can't wait for the next 100.
Hello, Heather. This is Gary Turner from the UK. I just wanted to wish you 100 congratulations on reaching a wonderful milestone for your podcast, Leadership with Heart. I've enjoyed listening to so many of your eclectic conversations where you have a range of different people from different backgrounds, including our favourite Gary Ridge, CEO of WD-40, but also a wide range of consultants, practitioners, educators. I just really, really enjoy listening to just, as I say, an eclectic, diverse and thought-provoking mix of guests that you bring onto the podcast. And of course, the podcast wouldn't be what it was without you, Heather. You're a total inspiration to me personally. I love your work, I love your drive, I love your passion, I love your energy, and it comes through in everything that you do, from your TED Talks, through this podcast, and indeed how you manifest yourself in the world. And I'm just so proud to know you and to be able to follow your journey. So again, congratulations on 100 episodes of your podcast.
Hey Heather, this is Jackie Benjamin. Wow, 100 episodes. Congratulations. That's very exciting. The thing that I love best about the podcast is listening to the stories of your guests talk about when they were their best selves and when they weren't their best selves, and what they learned from that, how they evolved into be the leaders they are today, who care for their people and really want to see the best for them. It really is inspiring to know that there's so many leaders out there that are willing to do what they can for the people that they work with. And it makes me want to be a better leader. So thank you for everything that you do. And here's to 100 more.
This is Rich Gasson saying congratulations on 100 episodes of this podcast. I originally connected with Heather over 2 years ago on LinkedIn. I was reading her book, The 7 Intuitive Laws of Employee Loyalty, and using parts of it in a training session on employee recognition at UW-Madison. Later, I was honored to be a guest on the podcast in episode 32. I have always been impressed with Heather's authenticity. When she says leadership with heart, she means it. I'm proud to help recognize this milestone, and here's to many more. Congratulations, Heather.
I absolutely love the Leadership with Heart podcast. In fact, it's become one of my go-to resources because it gives me a chance to really step into the shoes of leaders in the workplace today and understand the challenges they're facing. I think Heather does an exceptional job of asking focused questions around things that leaders could have done better and what they've learned from those situations. And those are conversations we don't get to be privy to very often. And I think that's where some of the greatest learning can be found. So I'll continue tuning into Leadership with Heart because I know that Heather will continue to have great guests on her show consistently and that there is always something that I can learn.
Hi Heather, it's Neil Hughes, your podcasting friend from the UK here. Heather, where do I begin? We supported each other for years online, but when we met at No Longer Virtual in Denver 2 years ago, you watched me speak about how easy it should be to make a podcast. And whereas some thought, I don't like the sound of my voice, it's too complicated, it's too much for me, and a long list of other excuses, you took the concept and ran with it. And I remember saying to you, Heather, focus on a conversation and providing value and leave all the tech stuff for me to worry about. But how you structured your podcast, the guests you invited on, and everything about Leadership with Heart, you brought to life. And in a digital world where many are guilty of hiding behind screens and echo chambers, you have built something that is the antidote to all the bad side of tech. You created a show that brings together this diverse set of leaders from all over the world and seamlessly get them to share their journey, their insights, their expertise. And how you do this with your curious personality, you make it all look effortless. So here we are 2 years later with not just 100 podcast episodes, but with 100 conversations and interviews with leaders who all may have different experiences and insights, but they all share one thing in common. Just like you, they are leaders with heart. And I'm sure everyone listening will agree when I say that is something incredibly beautiful in that alone. So keep going with your passion, drive, determination, consistency. But above all, Heather, keep leading with your heart. Sorry to ramble on, but a genuine heartfelt congrats on reaching 100 episodes. But your achievement here goes way beyond just 100 episodes. Keep doing what you do, and much love from the UK.
I'm going to be honest, after listening to the messages of people who have been listening in, and many of them I know because they also engage with me on LinkedIn and social media, I was brought to tears. I just couldn't believe the impact that this show has had on people. And not just me personally, but just the interviews I have with the amazing leaders that are on the show. And so I want to thank you, the listeners who did chime in and those who are still listening and are advocating for your advocacy and for sticking with me through this now year and a few months of putting on this Leadership with Heart podcast. It has been definitely my great honor. And I'm super excited to see what we come up with via your recommendations to me throughout the year, through my handpick process. I'm just super excited to see what we come up with together. So enjoy the rest of that for the rest of the year. My message for today, short and sweet. And I love these really short episodes where I'm able just to speak to you. But the main message I want you to know is that Whether you are leading someone now, you want to lead other people, or you're leading yourself, you get to choose what that looks like. You get to choose your mindset. You get to choose your behaviors, and you do have impact. Whether it be positive or negative, you do have impact, and you get to choose what impact you have. This is critical as a leader with heart, to be thinking about the journey and not focusing so much on a destination. When you hear me talk to these leaders on the show, what I hope you walk away with is not that I'm speaking to people that are way up on a pedestal and that do everything right, but that even those who do most things right do some things not so great. And it's in us highlighting those stories and the backstory to the backstory that makes our learning so rich. So be that leader, the leader who is constantly focusing on the journey, on getting better, on improving, on bringing people along, on lifting people up. And also know that there will soon be a book, the first of many in a series on the podcast, based upon the podcast, the interviews I have, some of the work that I do in the voice of the employee space. And I think you'll be proud of that work. And I feel like you have been a part of it. I'm super excited. It won't come out till 2021, but I'll be writing it around these shows and taking any feedback from you all and including you in what the final product might look like. Because I can't do this alone. Just like many other leaders out there in the world, they cannot do it alone. You cannot do it alone. So I'll be asking all of you to take part in that. Thank you again so much for being on this journey up and down with me. There have been times where I've almost started to cry on this show. There have been times where I have darn near cried on this show. And I hope that you feel all of the emotions, all of those things in between as you listen in. Don't forget to write reviews, and don't forget to refer and send this out and share. We want others to receive the gift of these leaders that I talk to on the show. We can really make this show and the next 100 episodes a success together. Now you get to listen to some more people who are listeners and their thoughts of the show and the impact it's had on them. Enjoy.
This is Laquita Walker. So when I think about the Leadership with Heart podcast and Heather's business, Customer Fanatics, and focusing on employee loyalty and interviewing people who she believes are leaders with heart, I just have been learning and realizing that it's okay to be emotional at work because we are human and we are all leaders in different aspects of our lives that are not just a title that you have. We are leaders as the parents in our home. I'm a leader because I'm also the eldest sibling. I'm the second oldest grandchild on my mother's side. So I'm a leader. And how I treat people by listening, by being non-judgmental, by showing empathy, also showing sympathy, that's being a leader with heart. And that's what I've been learning from interacting with Heather. She always showing care and concern, sincerity, since I met her in 2016, constantly trying to support me in any way she can, even though we don't interact every day. But she's showing that she cares. And through all of my different challenges and my adversities, is interacting with people like Heather is showing me that I do have the courage and I do have the ability and the leadership skills and what it takes to be successful. So I'm proud to be a leader with heart.
Heather Younger, congratulations on your 100th episode. What an amazing journey for you, and I'm so happy for you and very honored that you asked me to, tell all of your loyal listeners why I so faithfully listen to your podcast. So listeners, this is for you. The Leadership with Heart podcast is definitely worth my time, and I think your time as well. Look, how you give your time, where you give it is so crucial nowadays. And as a family man, lifelong learner, business owner, I only have so much time. And she's only about one of about 5 podcasts that I listen to on a regular basis. And with Heather, I've listened to almost every single one. Now, why is that? Heather has integrity. She's talented. She's hands-on and knows how to get things done. I've also been blessed to know Heather and her husband, Luis, for several years, and I also hired Heather's consulting services for our business a few years ago. So I know firsthand that she's for real at helping businesses get to the crux of engaging their employees to move their businesses forward. Heather is also highly selective about the types of leaders that she has on the podcast. They're the best of the best at leading with heart and usually only come by referral. Her ability to relate to her guests and draw on some of their best practices and experiences and failures as a leader allows me to grow stronger, both as a leader and personally with every single episode. I also learned so much just by following Heather's lead on her journey. Heather has overcome obstacles. She's highly optimistic and determined to succeed, all while being a serious business person and a fantastic mom. In conclusion, I encourage you to join Heather on her Leadership with Heart journey with the rest of her loyal listeners, and we and all of those we serve are better for it. Cheers to loyalty.
Wow. Just again, listening to those messages really does warm my heart. Okay, I'm a little bit smushy. I know I'm a little bit soft. But in the end, I think that goes a long way, and I'm proud to be that person. And I'm proud to hear all the people that have given their testimony to the show and the impact it's had on them. And hopefully it has also impacted you. I just want to thank everybody who did that. And again, let's go onward and upward, the next 100 episodes. Let's do this together, shall we? Have a great one. Thanks for joining the podcast. Thank you for listening to the Leadership with Heart podcast. You can grab the show notes by visiting customerfanatics.com. And don't forget to subscribe to our newsletter.